Namaste. I want to have a little fun today. How about that? How about a little fun? I call today Let's Speculate, because speculation is fun. And I want to share two stories. One's mine. I want to share one that's mine, and one from somebody I found on Quora, Arena Nola. I don't know the name. Hypnotherapist, post-life regression therapist at New Orleans Hypnosis. Anyway, and we'll do that, but let's talk about mine first. The first time I was able to attend a class, after a lot of rigmarole and an interview session, I was able to attend a class, meditation class of my one and only teacher. And I was already into my 60s, well into my 60s, 64 I think, 63, 64. Anyway, before I finally found a teacher to be in his presence, and ironically he didn't speak English, he only spoke Chinese, which I'm extremely poor at. Anyway, I sat through the first meditation, and we'd meditate for an hour like always, and then dismissed at least 2,500 people that were there in attendance. And then he had someone come get me and bring me to this little area where he put his hand here. And later he was to move his hand. I won't touch the mic, but he touch here. And it was amazing. Several things happened. What I want to share is my speculation, my contribution to this speculation. When he touched me, I was immediately transposed, and what I've called, for lack of a better term, is Buddha Hall. Big, beautiful, golden, diffused light, like indirect lighting through the gossamer curtains along the huge windows that this hall, they were windows, they were just openings. And they had thin gossamer curtains, and the light just shimmered through. And within was, I have to say, tens of thousands of Buddhas. Now, it was a color feast. The Buddhas, besides being every gender you could think of, or anything in between, and things that weren't even expressed in the human form, other life forms, they were colorful. I see my three Buddhas, my favorite three Buddhas, the green, the red, and the gold, and I have a story to tell attached to that particular, the Trikaya, the three Buddhas. But this was just Buddhas. And I was in their company as an equal, not a spectator. And I just enjoyed. Some were in silence, some were chatting. It's like a big, huge cocktail party without the cocktails. People were intermingling. But there was an overwhelming pervasion of peace. No matter this was somehow separated from all the activity and the speaking, because when I was able to separate some of the words, it was like the ultimate wisdom that was being shared. So it wasn't like cocktail chatter. I just used that. It was socialization is a better. Everyone was socializing, and then they were there together. Some didn't participate, but this is my contribution to this speculation. It was fun. And I was, again, accepted as an equal. And it was my first glimpse that I too would eventually come to merit inclusion. I was accepted then, but they all knew. One of the Buddhists talked to me and said that, you're close, you're bodhisattva, but you need to clean up some, there's some karma attached to you. There's some things that you still need to experience. You need to go through the awakening experience because that's a prerogative. And it took about 2 years, until this happened. But there I was. And the first time in my life, I've never felt like home. I've never felt like this is home. I've always been a guest. I'm a guest in Taiwan. I've been a guest here for 25 long years. It'll never be my home. It'll be the place where I'm cremated and my ashes are scattered. But my home is Buddha Hall. This golden, and as I pulled away from Buddha Hall, saw this golden structure on a mountaintop. A barren mountaintop. It just kind of was like a jewel in a crown. So there's my speculation, my sharing. Now I want to get to Irina's. And the question is, how do souls, and I like this, how do they spend time in afterlife, especially when they don't incarnate for hundreds of years? Don't they get bored? So-called afterlife is the true home of souls. Trips to Earth or other physical planets are just short journeys in comparison with the spiritual life of souls. Plus, in higher dimension, time is not linear and cannot be compared with time in physical reality. Many authors talk about simultaneous lives, but the concept is hard to understand from human perspectives. Soul can do anything they want to in the spiritual reality, which has many different dimensions and realms. From semi-physical, which are very similar to life on Earth, but without negativity, to pure energy through thought realms with no shapes and forms. Just energy and mental concepts. Soul can travel all over the multiverse, shape-shift into any semi-physical bodies, explore existing worlds or create new ones, engage in every energy games or intellectual discussions with other souls, travel in time, study any subject, create art or music, watch over other souls' incarnation as guides, or helping the incarnating or returning souls as healers, and many other occupation interests. Some souls do get bored without the negativity and the sense of danger, and they incarnate in physical bodies as seldom as possible and use it for the sake of helping others. They usually stay in the spirit world as guides or members of teaching or governing councils. In the spirit world as guides, you can read, anyway, there's her speculation. I like that they usually stay in spirit world as guides or members of teaching or governing council. Not too unlike my experience of Buddha halls. And I just thought that was something that was well worth sharing. And shout out to Arena Nola. I like it. Just kind of no matter where you are in your spiritual journey, it's good to find some validation, to find somebody that had a similar experience or used similar words or similar concepts to what you've used. And I found a lot of support in my journey. And again, you don't need validation. Once abiding awakening happens, once you leave non-abiding awakening, which is kind of some taste and some kind of experience, in inner abiding awakening, permanent awakening versus temporary awakening, you never can go to sleep again. Once you're awake, you're awake. Once you're awake to the truth, once you're awake to the reality that is always been ours, it's our birthright. I can't stress this enough. So through a process of exploration and surrender, one is led to see the Maya, the mythology of the self, to see this carefully crafted by our cunning minds to give us a sense of separation and division, only to discover that that's the dream. So you awaken to what you've always been, you awaken to what you always know, you experience isness, as I've been very fond, that thou art, that we are the divinity, we are, the Atman is our expression of Brahman. Our expression, our Atman is our little splash of water that comes when a wave hits a rock and splashes up until it goes back into the sea. That water is water. That your drop, that individuated, apparent individuated drop that you are in that period, the trajectory that you're on until you go back into the mother ocean, the ocean of awareness. That drop that we are is exactly identical to our ocean of awareness. There's absolutely no difference. The difference is all of our creation, of our madness, if you will, of our slumber. And we can find, and we all will find, that substance, the realness which we are.